The life of a fisherman, it never gets old. So welcome to the show, come on yo, we're going Ike.
Hey everybody, I want to talk to you about the bait and the pattern that dominated in Going Ike episode 3, landfill bassin, fishing with Bridget. Man, it was a great experience because it was a special little lake, but even with being a good lake, it's a very tough time of the year. We were there during what's called fall transition. And in fall transition, the fish are moving from their summertime places and they're heading back into the creeks and coves. And they're going back there to eat a lot of bait. So we were there right ahead of them really getting on that fall feed when you could throw anything and catch them. So it was a tough day. We struggled a little bit in the beginning, caught a few on a chatterbait, but the key lure for us throughout the day was a crankbait. And I want to talk to you about the bait we fished, why and where we fished there, and then we'll talk a little bit about the rod and the reel. You know, let's talk about the location first. And on the location, the key spots were what I call rock transition banks in front of the coves and the pockets. And anywhere that you found a deeper water access point, a creek, a deep water turn that touched rock, and if that rock was sitting in front of a pocket or a creek, that was the magic. But finding them wasn't enough. We had to trigger the bite. They weren't actively feeding, so we had to make them react. And we used one of my favorite baits for that time of the year. We used the crankbait. The key bait was a Rapala DT6, and it was in Ike's custom ink color called Blueback Herring. Perfect imitation of the shad forage that was found in that lake. And you know, the key to this bait was getting it to bounce or deflect off of that rock. You know, the boat basically sat in anywhere from 8 to 10 foot of water. We cast toward the bank, and those bass were sitting in 4 to 5 foot of water. That's why we picked the DT6. You always want to pick a crankbait that runs as deep or a little deeper than the water you're fishing. So DT6 was perfect. We had to get that bait and cause it to bump into those rocks, deflect off those rocks. That was so key. And that was really the magic bait of the day. Let me talk to you a little bit about the line, the rod, and reel. On line, Berkeley Trilene, 100% fluorocarbon. We use 10 and 12 pound tests. Fluorocarbon is excellent for crankbait fishing, lets the bait get down there. But the rod and the reel were important. We use an Abu Garcia Revo reel in a slower gear ratio, 6:4 to 1, to force ourselves to really get it down there and slow it down and grind it along those rocks. But now here's the key, the rod. I'm holding the exact rod I used in the show. It's an Abu Garcia Ike series rod. It's the 7-foot delay series rod, 7-foot delay series. And our delay series rod is actually a composite rod. And here's the magic to this rod. Look how spongy that tip is. It's composite. It's a mix of fiberglass and graphite. And anytime you're using a treble hook lure, that real soft parabolic rod is going to do two things for you. The first thing it's going to do, it's going to give you a little bit of delay. When that fish comes up and bites it, instead of you pulling it away, because it's composite and because it's forgiving, that fish is going to eat it before you pull into him. You know, the other thing it's going to do is you're going to land more fish. If you look at the video, a lot of the fish we caught were slapping at it. They didn't want to eat. We were making them react. And a lot of times they'll have one hook in their mouth or one hook on the side. And when that happens, that real soft parabolic action of those Ike series delay rods, that's the deal. Hope you had a great time watching it. The key bait for landfill bass in fall transition. Get yourself a crankbait, find some rock transition, and you're going to catch bass too.
When I fish like him, you know I'm fishing hard. You might want to say that I'm going Ike.